Hi, I'm Katie Crane from the Pilates Professional. Today we're going through a few exercises that I've been working on with Jamie. He's an avid wakeboarder and also a skateboarder. So we've been really working on a lot of dynamic stability with exercises that would get him working that whole lower limb area. So all of the muscles in the hip, right down through to the ankle, right? He needs a lot of stability, but it has to be dynamic, which means he has to be able to move really quickly at any moment. What happens when he's doing that out on the water or at the half pipe, he can get really, really tight in some areas, and some of those areas include his low back muscles around about where his spine meets the pelvis. So we want to work on doing things to open that area out while working all the muscles that support it as well. So this is a version of standing splits that we've been playing around with. It's a little bit more dynamic than some of the traditional work. So go ahead and bend your knees. You want to make sure that your client is still in good alignment. That's always a really big part of what we do, right? So for Jamie, he needs to feel that he's really sitting heavy into those sits bones, and then the back line is working with the front line. So they need to be co-contracting, working together. He's heavy through the heel of the foot. Now all of his weight is going to stay grounded through this right side, and he's going to push the carriage out and jump off and then land. Now part of the work is making sure that this jumping leg does not just fall down. And when he's successful in that, then he actually feels on this left side, so on the pushing outside, that those glutes are activating in a dynamic nature. Now, could you stay a little bit more grounded through the right hip? So don't lean so much. There you go. Just do a couple more. Try not to let that leg drop. Keep it lifted. Keep it lifted. There you go. Good. Do just two more. Do you see the difference, right? So now he's staying steadier through the right side, steadier through the standing side, and controlling more through the other side, right? Okay, so now let's go into a traditional one. So now both legs are nice and long, pushing on out nice and wide, and then coming back in. Now stand facing forwards so that you're lifting your eye gaze. This is more of, for Jamie, for his body, it's more of a postural exercise, right? He has a tendency to want to look down at his feet. So this is an important exercise to bring his body upright. When that happens, and when he's well weighted through his entire foot, and really feeling that as he's coming in, lifting through the arches of the foot. So his weight is evenly distributed through his toes, lifting through the arches of his foot, really engage those inner thigh after he's really stretched them out as well, right? So remember, he gets very tight through the inner thighs. A lot of that is from that ballistic work of landing heavy and then having to hold yourself stiff, right? So we want to counteract some of those tightnesses that he's feeling. Okay, last one. Standing facing the wall here. Now this is a great balance exercise. The forefoot is on the pad or on the front of the carriage, right? Then go ahead and take your other foot up onto the box. Good. So from there, if you can really stay heavy through the standing leg, almost like you're elevating the heel a little bit, but all of your weight is in the back of that leg. As you're pushing the bed out and in, this is just on like half a spring, so it's not very weighted at all. So the work really is on controlling the bed back in. Now we've spoken about this, so I know that Jamie's feeling most of the work through this standing leg, through the quad, the calf, the hamstring, the glute, and through the ankle, which is really important when you're doing things like skiing or surfing, snowboarding, skateboarding, and wakeboarding. You've got to have really good ankle stabilizers. So what we see a lot in these types of sports is ankle injuries and knee injuries. So we want to make sure that that entire line is very supported. Now once he's done this, then I want to challenge this exercise. So I'm actually going to take the spring off. You good for it? Yeah. Now the work translates from being all on this standing leg to the core pulling the bed back in. Psoas, transverse abdominals, even the front of the leg, right, is pulling the bed back in. Still a stabilizing exercise. It slows his body down, so he's used to doing things really hard, really fast, really dynamic. This slows the exercise down so he can refine the movement. He gets back on the board and he's so much better for it. Just a few ideas for you if you're playing with people that are quite high level in any of those board sports. Thanks for joining me. I'm Katie Crane from the Pilates Professional.